सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ
Okay. Good evening, good morning. Welcome back. We will continue our discussion of chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita. So, 5-minute recap. We were doing some interesting discussions in the previous class. So, as you all know, this chapter, the theme of this chapter is meditation. So it starts with the usual meditation, but eventually or mainly this chapter is focused on nididhyasanam. We talked about that difference. So conventionally, our mind is not stable. It is fickle and it is unstable. So our goal is do this upasana type of meditation and get the absorption first. We talked about what is meditative absorption. If you remember, or please remember, what is the meditation? Conventionally, my mind, thoughts will just go through in a kind of a state transition, like T1 may lead to T2, T2 may lead to 3T3, T3 may lead to T4, and usually I may not have much control over the sequence. So the first step is I'm putting some effort. What is that effort? I wanted to make sure that I am able to sustain T1 for a period of time. So when I try to do that, initially what I'm doing, I'm observing what is happening in my mind. When the T1 is substituted by T3, T4, T5, Tx, I will bring T1 back forcefully. So that is the first stage of meditation. And that means if I'm meditating an object, say a flower, or an image of Lord Shiva, or an image of Lord Vishnu, what is going to happen? Continuously, the thought pattern that comes in my mind is either the flower or the image of Shiva or the sound of the mantra. So that is T1, 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 T1. But eventually what is going to happen? I'm going to substitute that image of Lord Shiva or image of that flower with the Atma Akara Vritti. That is the technical term we used. Atma Akara Vritti, which is nothing but the nature of the self or the Atman. So whatever I heard from a Vedanta class, or whatever I listened from a Vedanta class, what is the nature of that Atman? My entire focus, entire attention is on that. And this is what is nididhyasana. Because we talked about a lot of examples. When I learned the bicycle, I am not nishta on that skill. A skill can happen, means I say that I have that skill. I can able to do that closing my eyes. It is programmed in me only when I am absorbed or all my thought reflects that direction of thinking. But because of my whole life, we have been thinking that we are a body, we are a mind, that thought is predominant. Even though I know that I am Atma, I am not established in that. So this nididhyasana, where I try to concentrate on the nature of the Atma, is going to give me that habitual thinking, habitual understanding of the nature of the Atma. But what exactly reveal the nature of the Atma? It is not the Nididhyasanam, it is the Shravanam and Mananam. But Nididhyasana is going to help me to reinforce that. And in that light, I should be able to see Atma, and that is how we proceed. And in the last session, what we did was we tried to see some of these benefits of this samadhi. Sorry. So 7 benefit of samadhi. We have seen that in the last class, right? So the first one is nirutham chittam, or quietude of the mind. Second one is atma darshanam, or the vision of the Atma. And the third one is the Niratishaya Sukha Prapti, or the highest contentment. Or then what happens? We are abiding in our own true nature. Atmanishta. Then highest gain means in life. That is another thing. And then we saw that ability to withstand any tragedy. That is another benefit. And finally, we said disassociation of association with sorrow. So these were the same 7 benefits we have seen about samadhi. And after talking about the process of meditation and also talking about the benefits of the samadhi, Krishna switched back the topic again into the nature of meditation. So if you really think about this, the chapter 6 has different topic. One of the topic is what are the general practices I should do? Second topic is what are all the specific practice I need to do before the meditation? The third one is the process of meditation. And fourth one is the benefit of the meditation. And obviously we are going to talk about some of the obstacles and challenges. And finally, there is one more topic which is outside of meditation. So this is the topic of this chapter. And I also explained this chapter, it is not pretty much sequenced. Like you could see that Krishna talking about the general practices first, then he go to the specific practice, again coming back to general practice, then go to the nature of meditation, then he go to the benefit, then he again go back to the process of meditation. So that type of order is missing in that chapter, but nevertheless, the contents are so beautiful. That's what we saw. So now we can continue the discussion to the next topic, which is mainly the verse 25. Anu, you are in the call?
Yes.
Please
yes.
chant. Please chant.
शनैः शनैरुपरमेत् बुद्ध्या धृतिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत्.
Again, the topic is the process of meditation. These are beautiful verses. Shanai, Shanai, he said, Uparamet. How do you try to progress in meditation? Shanai, Shanai. Don't think that you're going to start meditation today. Tomorrow you will be an expert meditator. You can meditate 30 minutes without any fault, without any flaw. If you think that, that is wrong. So Krishna very, very specifically, he said, Shanai, Shanai. You progress this bit by bit. Slowly, slowly only you see the progress in your meditation. How the mind can be withdrawn, it is bit by bit. Slowly, very steadily. This is very important. So this should give us some consolation, right? So most of us assume that you can start practicing the meditation on day 1, which is not possible. Like you are meditating. Remember that means we already talked about the meditation means it is the ability to bring that mind back. Let's say that you are sitting in a meditation session. I'm quoting Shankaracharya. He tells, if your mind, let's say that T1, it went to T15. If you don't pay any attention, the mind goes from T2, T3, T3, T4, T5, T16. You realized at the end that I was daydreaming. That is not a meditation. What is meditation? If you think that you need to have T1, T1, T1 for 15 minutes, don't think. That is also not meditation. If you can do that, that is samadhi. So what is meditation then? Your ability to bring the mind back. So if you think that in your initial session, you're able to bring the mind back 15 times, you can say that that's a productive meditation. So the best example is in gym, when you lift the weight, right? How do you build the strength? Let's say that you're a 5 pound, you lift that 5 pound one time and you close the training that day. That's not the training. Like, you would say that that training was productive if you had, say, 12 times 4. So when that rep increases, you think what exactly is the benefit you are getting? Your physical muscles get strength. Like that, the more you bring the mind back, the more you bring. So your success in meditation, initially you should not focus on how long you can sustain, but how many times you brought new, okay, my thought went, bring it back. That's what is Krishna is emphasizing. And I was surprised, a lot of times even the meditation teachers doesn't know this. They think that the meditation is successful only when you can meditate, means that is samadhi, which is different. So shanai uparamat. How? Buddhya triti grihitayaha. How? With your intelligence, with your intellect. What exactly creates this meta attention? It is your intellect. So when you say intellect, it's a willful thought. It's a willful thought which monitors the other thought, or it's a willful action. So by your intellect, and the word used is dhriti. Dhriti means fortitude or commitment or strength or determination. So you're determined in what? I'm not determined in keeping 12 minutes or 15 minutes uninterrupted flow of thought, but I'm determined in identifying the deviation of my thought pattern and bringing the mind back. Look at the power of this words and instruction. This is meditation. This is the process of meditation. Shanai uparamet buddhya dhriti grihitayaha. So with a strong will, with determination, with commitment, with strength, on what? Knowing that my thought is gone, being mindful, know that, okay, recognize that when my thought deviates, recognize it, bring it back. Recognize it, bring it back. And eventually, where exactly you bring the mind back, where the mind is going to stay, if you practice this continuously, after a period of time, where exactly the mind is going to stay continuously? Atma samstam manakrutva. So the mind is fully absorbed at the stage of samadhi. So when you practice meditation for a period of time, what is going to happen? The mind will get absorbed in the object of meditation. Till then, you have to do the first 2 lines. Shanai parame. Step by step, bit by bit. So initially your focus is 2 minutes meditation. That is going to 3, 5, 7. So for a period of time, effortlessly you can sustain. And then what exactly you are going to think through? Atma, the nature of the Atma. So Atma samstam, your mind is fixed on the nature of the Atma. The normal meditation, the upasana turns into nididhyasanam. What is going to happen? Nakichit api chintayet. Don't think anything else. Don't think anything else. If you translate in modern language, keep T1 as your thought. Initially, T1 is the object of meditation, which is outside of you. And when it becomes Nididhyasanam, what is going to happen? T1 becomes the nature of the Atma. This is the essence of it. So these are some of the most fundamental instructions on meditation, which nobody could improve still now. Shanai Shanai Ruparamed Buddhya Dhriti Grihitayaha. These two lines by heart. This is important. So this is the key point. So there are two sentences, there is one sentence there are two sentences, right? So Buddhya Dhriti Grihitayaha Shanai Shanai Uparamed. So with a determined mind or determined intellect, with strong intellect, with determination, with strength, may you slowly, bit by bit, gain control over the mind. And once you gain control over the mind, which is the second sentence, Kritva Mana Atma Samstam. So make the mind absorbed in the nature of the Atma. Then what? Na chintayet kinchit api. Your mind should not have any other thought at that time other than the nature of the Atma. So in one verse, he covers from the beginning stages of the meditation to the end. So again, I got a question. I'm not waiting till end to answer this. What is the difference between Nididhyasanam and the conventional meditation? So to answer that question, there are different types of meditations. Depending upon your schools and your belief, you can have different dicing and slicing. And I like to follow this. Like there is a relaxation meditation. There is a concentration meditation. There is a value meditation. There is expansion meditation. And finally, the spiritual meditation or Vedantic meditation. The meditation becomes spiritual only when it is, truly speaking, Nididhyasana. Spiritual meditation means what? You are meditating on the spirit. Spirit is Atma. So that's Adhyatmika Dhyanam. So you're meditating upon the nature of the Atma. And then what is the difference in the process of meditation? Another question. Nididhyasanam versus Upasana. The difference is Upasana means the object of meditation is something outside of you, something with a name and form, something which can be perceived by your sense organs or the mind. So that's the difference. And Nididhyasanam means the object of the meditation is Nirguna, meaning formless, nameless, attributeless Atma. That is the only difference. Third question I got. You have been saying, I'm just reading, you have been saying, it's not me, but the Advaita Vedanta, so please correct that. You have been saying that, what is that? Meditation is not what is giving the liberation. Correct. Meditation is not what is giving the liberation. What is giving the liberation? It is the Shravanam and Mananam. Yes, meditation may facilitate that enlightenment, but what exactly gave that knowledge? It is the Shravanam and Mananam. So even if you are the best meditator in the world, if you don't know about Atma, per Advaita Vedanta, it is difficult to get self-realization. That's where the Patanjali Yoga slightly differs from Advaita Vedanta. Patanjali Yoga also tells that you need knowledge, Without Viveka Khyadi, you will not get Kaivalya. So what exactly gave me the actual liberation? It is the knowledge. But when can I see the knowledge? What exactly facilitate my face-to-face meeting with that knowledge? It is meditation. So meditation is a tool. It facilitates the enlightenment, but that is not the direct cause of the enlightenment. So please understand that difference. And then the example in Atma Bodha is, what exactly cooked the food? Is that the plate, or is that the water, or is that the fire? The direct cause of cooking is fire. Without water, you cannot put the rice. Without the pot, you cannot cook it. So like that, without meditation, without karma yoga, you will not get the enlightenment. But it is not the pot that cooked the food. It is not the water that cooked the food. They just facilitated the cooking. The real cooking is done because of the fire. Like that, the enlightenment, if the problem is ignorance, there is only one solution, that is knowledge. The role of meditation and karma yoga is to make me fit to use that knowledge. Hopefully this is clear. If you have this doubt, don't be sad. This is the good old doubt everybody has. So even you can see books after books of Gita, people talking about meditation as a means of liberation. So don't worry about that. Okay, so let's go to the next verse.
Yato yato nishcharati manaschanchalamasthiram tatastato niyam yaitat atmanyeva vasham nayet.
Another verse we all need to by heart. Process of meditation. How to meditate? You will not get any clearer instruction than this. Yato yato. Imagine that you are sitting and meditating. Yato yato. Whenever. Nischarati. Whenever the mind wanders from your object of meditation. What you need to do? Tato manas chanchalam astiram. Yato nischarati. Manas chanchalam astiram. What is the nature of the mind? Krishna very well knew the nature of our mind. He describes the mind with two attributes. What is the nature of the mind? Chanchalam, astiram. Chanchalam means restless. Astiram means not steady. Stiram means steady. Astiram means not steady. So the characteristics of any normal mind is chanchalam and astiram. So don't be harsh on us when we think that I cannot sit and meditate. This is very important. So that's why Shankaracharya tells this is a learned skill. You need to learn this art of meditation. Just like you cannot start lifting big weights initially. You have to build your strength. Like that, you need to build the strength in your mind. And Shankaracharya tells, Vairagya bhavena. Vairagya bhavena means, this is beautiful. He tells, this process, earlier he said this is slow, right? Shanai ruparame. How can you accelerate this process? That is where you need to develop this bhavana of Vairagya. Vairagya means you find more value in this process of meditation than those wandering thoughts. You need to reinforce that value. When you see that value, naturally this process will be accelerated. But this sentence, right? Tato niyamyet. Niyamyedat. So whenever you see the mind wanders away from the object of meditation, tato, then and then only, what do you do? Niyamyet. You need to control it. You all attended a lot of meditation classes. You all attended a lot of meditation book. Have you seen this definition is there in almost every instruction manual of meditation? Whenever you see that, whether it is search inside yourself, whether it is mind illuminated, whatever courses you do, you cannot miss this definition. And in the history of humanity, this is the first place this definition is given. I sometimes feel that this definition is even more clearer than the definition of Yoga Sutra. So this is beautiful. Yato nischarati, tato niyamyet. This is the process of meditation. You don't need any further. That's it. This is the process of meditation. Whenever you realize that the mind wanders, and the mind will wander because it is chanchalam and asthiram. The fickle and the unstable mind, whenever it moves away from the object of meditation, what you need to do? Bring it back. And finally, when you do the nidithyasanam, he tells, Atmani eva vasham nayet. So you need to keep that mind where? Atma, because in nidithyasanam, you are at the highest form of meditation. The object of meditation is Atma. So you need to keep your mind exclusively in Atma. So you start contemplating about Atma. What is going to happen? An image of Lord Shiva comes into the picture. T2 is Shiva. Then you need to bring that image back to Atma again. So keep your mind on the object of meditation. And whenever you realize that it is gone, bring it back again. This is the instruction for meditation. And please try to remember this verse. This is such an important verse which defined the meditation for the first time. You cannot see an older definition of meditation beyond this. So, and the beauty is that this is what is called its Purana. Pura means it's most ancient, but if a meditation book is published in 2022, November, still you will find this definition in that book. That's the beauty. So I read somewhere, somebody was writing about the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, saying that it is not giving the instruction on meditation. I have no idea what exactly people are writing. So this is the definition of meditation. And if you don't mind, could you chant this one more time so that everybody, and at the end, if you could just chant and post this. I know you're on mute. Seems Sanu is in mute. That's fine. Yato nischarati manas chanchalam astiram tato niyamyedat atmanyeva vasham tayed. I know you can chant. I know that you.
Sorry. Yato nischarati manaschanchalasthiram tatastato niyamyaitat atmanyeva vasham nayet. Shall I chant the Shanai Shanairu?
No, this is fine. This is the verse what we need. And especially in this verse, line 1 and line 3. Yato nischalati tato niyamyedat. This is the definition of meditation. So if it is an upasana instead of Atma, you can say that whatever is that object, you keep the mind. But this is the fundamental definition of meditation. So that's, now he gave all the instructions on meditation. Now he should switch back again to benefit. This is one strange thing about the chapter. Remember, we already had a few beautiful verses on meditation, Atma Karavritti and all that fantastic thing. Then he switched to what? The benefit, like the 7 benefits of samadhi. All those points were given. Now he was not satisfied. He came back and started giving a little bit more instruction. Now he's going back to meditation. What is that ultimate benefit of meditation? If you say it facilitates relaxation, definitely. If you say it improves your health, definitely. If you say it helps you to disease-free, that is fine. If it makes you smile, that's also fine. But Krishna's aim is not that. Krishna says that this facilitates enlightenment. Of course, you have to do Shravanam Mananam, but this facilitates enlightenment, and that is his goal. Don't settle anything less than that. Everything else is byproducts. Don't settle on byproducts. Settle on the biggest and noblest goal of meditation. So let's go to the next verse.
Prashantamanasam hyenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhutamakalmasham.
Okay. Prashanta manasam hyenam. What type of mind you will get once you practice this meditation and once you reach this state? Prashantam. Shantam means peaceful, quiet, stable, healthy mind. Prashantam means even better, the best. Praharshena Shantam. A special kind of Shanti. It is not that Shanti, it's because of some relaxation you get. It is the ultimate Shanti, that the peace that passeth all understanding, if we borrow the language of Jesus. Otherwise, that peace is because somebody is near me, or I got a promotion, or I'm eating an ice cream, that is conditioned by something else. A peace that is born without any dependence. Remember, in the Upanishad class, we talked about Vishayanandam, Atmanandam. So this is going to give you that Atma Anandam, that happiness, that contentment, which is not, that is why it's Prashanti. Then Prashanta Manasam, right? Prashanta Manas. Enam means he, enam, yoginam. So that yogi, he, indeed, enam means that yogi, yoginam means that yogi. So this is Sanskrit. You have to break the word apart to know the meaning. So enam means, you think that it's one word. It is he plus enam. He means indeed. Enam means it is that. Enam, these yogis or those yogis who practice meditation, and what they are going to do, that yoginam sukham uttamam. They gain the uttamam means the highest. Uttamam, madhyamam, adamam. These are the degrees of comparison in Sanskrit. So the highest form of sukham. Sukham means contentment. So the first benefit is Prashanta manasam, meaning that peace, the peace that passeth all understanding, unconditioned peace, and extreme contentment. This is the benefit of meditation. And then he tells, Upaiti, he tells, Shanta rajasam. So the mind will be freed. Shantam, quiet. Rajasam here means hyperactivity. The mind free from hyperactivity means what? The mind will be quiet, stable, calm. Third quality. Extreme peace, quietude, control, the highest form of happiness. And then how? He tells Brahma Bhutam. Brahma Bhutam means what? Bhutam means what? Transformed into. You become Brahman. Akalmasham. Kalmasham means impurities. Your mind will be freed from all the impurities and you will become one with Brahman. He is naturally talking about what? The highest goal. This will facilitate. This is where some people think that this leads to enlightenment. No, it facilitates the enlightenment. Shankaracharya very well, immediately he comments on that. Brahma Bhutam means becoming Brahman means you don't have to become Brahman. You are already Brahman. So the knowledge will help you to know that, and the meditation will facilitate to grasp that knowledge. So these are some of the other benefits. Prashanta manasam. Then what is that? Uttamam sukham. Second thing. The first one is Prashanta manasam. Second one is Uttamam sukham. Then the third one is Shanta rajasam, meaning free from all the hyperactivity, and Brahma Bhutam, fourth. Fifth one is Akalmasham. 5 benefits. These are the highest forms of benefits, and these are, obviously, these are not mutually exclusive. One leads to the other. One without the other is not possible. So that's the next verse. One more verse with benefit.
Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi vigatak. Oh, I think, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi vigatakalmashah sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukham ashnute. Again,
it's a little bit of repetition. He tells Atyantam sukham ashnute. He enjoys what? Atyantam sukham. Sukham means happiness, contentment. What type of contentment? Atyantam, meaning infinite, limitless, supreme. The highest form of happiness he enjoys. How? Yunjan nevam sadatmanam. Yunjan meaning or meditating, evam only, sada atma, meditating upon what? Atma. If you meditate upon a flower, you will not get this enlightenment. If you meditate upon the form of Lord Shiva, you will not get this enlightenment. Please excuse me, the Bhakti schools will be upset. This is the Advaita Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is saying that Upasana will not take you to moksha. Per Advaita Vedanta, if you want to know yourself, you need to meditate upon Atma. So, Yunjan Nevam Sadatmanam, when you meditate upon the nature of the Atma, Yogi Vigata Kalmashaha. The yogi will be freed from all the impurity. Why? Because the impurities belonging to the body and the mind. When you get enlightened, what happens? Your identity gets shifted from the body mind to the Atma, which is free from all the impurity. And then what happened? then you get sukhena. You get that type of happiness. How? Brahma samsparsham. By the contact of Brahman, or by the recognition of Brahman. Samsparsham here means recognition. When you recognize that you are Brahman, your Atman is nothing but the Brahman, you get atyandam sukham. You will enjoy the most highest form of happiness. This is the ultimate benefits facilitated by meditation. So again, this enlightenment is not because of meditation, but enlightenment is not possible without meditation. In math, you see the necessary condition, but not sufficient. So let's say that you are an expert meditator. You can go to samadhi, samprajnata samadhi for hours, but you are meditating upon Lord Shiva. That is the time you hear the comments I talked the other day, right? You hear some yogis writing, samadhi gives me the most blissful experience. Out of samadhi, like 1,000 scorpions biting at the same time. So if you want this happiness to stay forever, even when you are not meditating, you need to know yourself. And the Advaita Vedanta's school, per the model, you need to understand yourself. And whenever you have two is there is always source of fear. And when there is only one, there is no source of fear. And you are that. And that is what is given in this chapter. So this chapter, even though it gives the preliminary instructions of the meditation, most predominantly it focuses on the Nididhyasana. Nididhyasana is the theme of this chapter. But doesn't mean that the other instructions are not, these instructions are not valid for the other forms of meditation. It is valid, because the only difference between Nididhyasanam and the other form of meditation is T1 is a flower or a Shiva or a mantra or a sound in other forms of meditation, whereas in the case of Atma, the T1 is Atma. Sorry, the Nididhyasana, it is Atma. So that's it. Again, let's go back to that one verse one more time. And I know if you can chant this one more time, if everybody can learn this. Sorry. Yeah, no, not this one, the previous one. No, yato nischarati.
Yato nischarati manaschanchalamasthiram tatastato niyam yaitat atmanyeva vasham nayet.
Okay, excellent. So that covers the 4 verses we wanted to cover. So with that, what we can do is we can go to the Q&A or any discussion. Let me stop the live